Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm NBG, and boy do I have a good video for you gold makers today. And I'm going to try to make this one quick, short, sweet. I'm going to just try to get the information out there. I have run across an add-on that is extremely helpful for determining profits in crafting. And today I'm going to share it. Let's get after it. Okay, as a bit of a disclaimer, I've only spent maybe an hour testing this so far. So I haven't run numbers completely, but some of the numbers I've run have been pretty darn accurate, and I want to share it with you. So the add-on we're going to talk about today is, if I can hit the right button, is going to be Craft Sim. Craft Sim, one word. You can look it up in like CurseForge, whatever the case may be. But this is what it doesn't have very many. It has like 20k downloads, if that. It doesn't have very many. People haven't caught on to it yet, and that's why I'm sharing it with you today. So let's go ahead and take a look at what it does. Now, if I go into here to one of my crafts, like let's take Fang Adornments for example. This is something we know well on the channel. You can see down here that it's going to show you a craft sim, like an average profit. The profit it seems to be running is on like a per craft basis, but it's taking into account your inspiration, your multi-craft, your resourcefulness, all of that. And you can set like the gear. Like if you have different sets of gear, you can set it to where like I want to use the top multi-craft gear, I want to use the top profit gear. You know, top profit, if you have, which unfortunately I don't have on me, but I might even buy one for the video. If you have another piece of equipment, like for instance, I'm running an inspiration build. I have an inspiration tool with an inspiration enchant. If I had something that was like, let's say, a multi-craft and resourcefulness, it would be able to do the math and be like, yo, you need to switch out for this piece because you can net more profit per craft. Now, I find this very interesting because you can even see that it's looking at the profit by quality of obviously if I hit a tier 2 it's negative a massive amount, if I hit a tier 3 it's positive a massive amount. Because of how quickly the market changes, I have ran into some issues to where you might need to reload or pay a little bit close attention. It's not going to be perfect, such as the numbers that it's telling me here. Like, is it really this much to craft it? Simulation mode off. I actually just saw that button for the first time. Oh, that's simulation mode on. Holy crap, maybe I should have I don't know how I didn't notice that button before. Let's see. So I can dictate like how much skill and everything I have, it looks like. Oh, like what would happen if... Oh, okay. There you go. So this will tell you like what if I added just 2 skill? What if I added... Or, excuse me, inspiration. What if I added 20 inspiration? 20 inspiration is essentially that of incense, right? So 20 inspiration, you can see that it's going to give me slightly more yield. Or what if I added 20 resourcefulness, right? Adding 20 resourcefulness, you can see it just edges the number up just a little bit, not super useful. Obviously, like I have 267. What does this take? Like, does it take 325? 350. So what would 350 be? So let's just say I add 100. I add 100 skill. Or, actually, excuse me, I need more than that. No, never mind, I need 100. You know, what is your expected profit? You know, expected profit of flat out per craft. This is your profit that you're getting, 6,200. That's, you know, fairly accurate. So that's pretty cool. I don't know how I didn't notice this button before. I must be blind. However, I just wanted to point this kind of stuff out. And then I ran into some numbers on, for instance, one that I've done this morning is I was running some numbers on reinforced armor kits. Because reinforced armor kits, I haven't been able to make a lot of money with for a while, but all of a sudden I noticed this was telling me that it was profit per craft on average, taking my stats into account. So I ran some numbers on a small batch and it came back fairly accurate. I technically was getting back more profit than what it was saying, but I believe there's some pretty obvious reasons for that. And that is, 1, doing a small batch size, 2, it's not, it can't 100% take multi-craft into account. It just can't. So this says, oh, okay. This is telling me I'm sorry, I'm jumping. This is telling me that I have other gear in my bag that will technically net more profit, which makes sense. Because this is inspiration. I don't need inspiration to hit this. I can make it flat out. I don't need the inspiration. This is saying, yo, idiot, switch to the resourcefulness, and you'll on average net an additional 4 gold per craft. That's exceptional information for everybody. But just to show you guys, let's do a dry run. Alright, so I went ahead and I bought all the materials needed. I decided I wanted to do 100 just to try to get a better representation. Let's see, it looks like I have a couple extra materials on me, so let me get rid of those so I make sure that these numbers are as exact as possible. Okay, I actually I went ahead and I banked the extra materials. Now, it still says that I have that many, but actually you can see there, I only have 200 in my bags, 11 are in the bank, blah. So I've banked the extra materials. It still says I can make that much, regardless. But take a look at this. You can see that it's telling me, okay, you can make 280 gold profit based on what I'm using, right? But now let's go top profit. I went ahead and I bought a multi-craft resourcefulness tool. This is saying, hey, dude, if you switch to this tool, you can net an additional, on average, 174 gold more profit per craft. Okay, that sounds great. Let's go ahead and equip that. It equips that and changes the profit down here. Now it's saying, on average, because of resourcefulness and multi-craft and all of that sort of stuff, I should be able to net about 456 gold profit per craft. And that's what we're going to test. So that's been done. It says I can make profit. Let's go ahead and craft it all and check back when it's done. Again, I bought enough to make 100. Okay, we're done with our crafting. Let's see how many we got. So this shows me I have 146 in my bags because I have some on the auction house already because I had already done some crafting. So I made 146 that run. So let's go ahead and take a look at initial numbers of what 146 looks like. It looks like 142,363 gold. So let's quickly talk about this. I'm going to go ahead and move this over and bring up the handy dandy notepad. So this is what we had, right? I had 86,655 gold worth of materials that I bought. I bought enough to make 100. Between procs and everything, I ended up with 146 kits back. You know, not getting 100, a lot of I had, like 16% multi-craft. I ended up getting back 146. That totaled a value of 142,363 gold, which, if you can see down here, the profit of, 55,708 gold profit. Which is pretty good. I don't know how many I actually got, right? Because what I ended up doing, which I probably shouldn't have now that I think about it, but because you're getting resourcefulness procs, I just pumped all the resourcefulness procs back into more crafts because the crafts are profit. So that's kind of why the numbers are a little bit skewed. I divided by 100 because that's how much I bought in terms of materials. I bought enough to make 100, even though I actually probably did 108 or something crafts, right? Because resourcefulness procs gave me more materials, so I could do technically a few more crafts. That's why this is 557 gold per rather than 456, because I technically am not dividing by the correct number. However, the other reason why this is different is because it can't 100% tell you what you're going to either get resourcefulness from or multi-craft. I could have a bad run of multi-crafting. I could have a good run of multi-crafting. Regardless, that's going to fluctuate unless you're doing, billions of crafts. Like, that might average out. But when you're only doing 50 or 100 crafts, it could go either way, right? So that's why the numbers are a little bit off. And then the other reason, not just the multi-craft, but resourcefulness, right? On average, resourcefulness can hit and you could be saving a few gold for resilient leather, or you could be saving 500 gold for dense hide or whatever it is. You know what I mean, right? Like saving 22 leather versus saving a dense hide. Which one would you rather save? A dense hide, regardless of the situation. Now, the other weird thing is I somehow ended up with, like, I have 27 resilient leather left in my bags. I have 1 dense hide, and I have no of the Kako Thunder Scales left in my bag. So I used everything that I had available to me, and the numbers I came out with were even higher, but again, that's going to fluctuate. But this was true, right? If I would have divided by the right number, like let's say if I really did 108 crafts, what would that be? Just for my own knowledge, if that was 108 crafts, then it's like 515 or something. It's a little bit closer to that number. But anyway, long story short, this seems to be telling the truth. Now, one of the more interesting things is, let's say if we're taking a look at something that doesn't have the fluctuation, like combatant gear. So this combatant gear does not, inspiration's not going to matter, multi-craft doesn't matter, like none of that matters. It is basing it on a per craft basis of profit. So this is kind of telling me that this item, if it, like, let's say if it really does cost 762 gold to craft, that means I'm making, that means it's probably selling for about 6.5k or, something to that effect, maybe even a little bit higher. Looks like minimum buyout is about 7.1, but that could be wrong. Let's look it up. That's the Crimson Combatant Adamant. It's the shoulders, right? That's the male shoulders Crimson. It looks like they really are at like 7.1 right now. Going back here, bringing that back up. These numbers, like the 2 craft, is probably what's incorrect. These numbers are probably wrong, because it's saying based on what, it's actually probably the inferior scale, right? It's saying 1,000. Yeah, this right here says it's 1,040 gold, while down here it says the craft is only 763. That's not correct. I bet if I do a /reload, that should update. Let's try. That's an auctionator difference, not the Simcraft, by the way. I'm just trying to make a point that it is pretty darn good, from what I can tell on, get it back over here so you can see it, on like something like the combatant gear. Where was these ones? Oh no, this hasn't updated. Regardless, it's telling me that based on how much it cost to make the item, that's how much profit I'm going to get back per craft. Something like this, it's going to be way more exact on current market prices. I've also noticed that if there's a slight fluctuation, if you do a /reload, it's pretty quick to pick up on that. And then a buddy of mine told me that he was able to drop an inspiration, like the essence, and it automatically picked up on that and adjusted his profits based on having additional inspiration. So anyway, long story short is the early amount that I've had messing with this has been pretty darn close, and it might be a somewhat reliable way to see if something's worth crafting. Such as, I was messing around yesterday with I finally got the Fierce Armor kits, and I did a big batch last night. I spent, 500,000 gold or something like that of making a big batch to see when I didn't have this to tell me the numbers, and I ended up being negative 60,000 at the end of the day. And I was like, oh, well, rip, I thought there was a chance this was profitable, and I was wrong, but I tried to do a large sample size to see. And this right here would have told me that, on average, crafting these, you're going to be -1, and actually, come to think of it, I think I made about 52. So if you do about 52 and multiply it by that, yeah, it's probably close. I bet the numbers have changed. But the point is, this seems to be fairly accurate based on current prices. Like, this one's interesting. What is the tier only averaging per craft of only 237 profit? That tells me that maybe the Fang and Dormant's dropped in price, which they have a little bit comparative to what they were earlier. But it also means that something like the scales have probably risen in price. Anyway, Craft Sim. I'm finding it very useful. And there you have it. Hopefully you found this information useful. Craft Sim. So far, it seems to be pretty darn close. Take it for a grain of salt. Don't completely invest into just believing what it's telling you. However, it could be a really good tool to help you try to find something that might be worth crafting. So anyway, if you like this content, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Let me know what you'd like to see. Let me know what I can do better. And before we go, I just want to thank everybody for the support. Yesterday's video was a little bit of a ramble, or day before, whatever it was a little bit of a ramble about how crafting professions specifically are not good for casuals to make profit. Like, there's really not room for casuals. They've really moved it to a place of you need to be pretty much dedicated crafter, like really dedicated if you want to see profits, and it's really not for everybody else. They have kind of moved it to where there's three faces of the game, right? PvP, PvE, and crafting, and it's just not casual friendly. And that's basically was my whole point. It wasn't about how much gold I'm making, wasn't anything to do with that. It was just stating, yo, crafting professions are not for casual gold makers anymore. If you want casual gold, you need to probably go scanning, mining, herbalism, and if you're dead set on crafting, there might be a couple niche specs, which I might make a video on sharing a couple, because I have a couple that I think anybody and everybody can do with fairly limited investment. You get it, you craft it every day, you see some profits. But anyway, I just wanted to thank everybody for the support on that video. There's been a ton of comments. I've been trying to read every single one. I've been trying to thoughtfully respond to everybody. That's the kind of discourse I'm looking for in my community. We all come from different spots in our gold making journey or just general WoW journey, and it's really cool to see other people's insight and their thoughts on different topics. That, and I think we're currently at like I don't know, let me do a quick reload here and I'll let you know. A little over 890, I think, on the subs. We are eking towards that 1,000, so help me get there. I think I need 109 more subs to hit 1,000. Thank you all again, and if you like this content, please subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.